Oh, hi. I almost died last night. Hi, Shani Fannies. Welcome to Educating Shani. I'm Shani and I'm recovering from an eating disorder. Hi, Shani. Hi. Okay, so I didn't actually almost die, but I thought I was gonna die last night. I have quite the story for you. To set it up, my husband Danny is out of town. He goes out of town a lot for his job. He's in the film industry, so he travels to a lot of different places to film. He's been gone for a few days. Whenever Danny is gone, I am very paranoid. I'm very cautious. I'm very just aware of everything in my home, just because I get scared. I wonder sometimes, you know, I do have haters out there that could come and hurt me if they wanted. So like I always have had that little fear whenever he leaves. So before I go to bed and throughout the day, like I'll switch my lights, I'll make it seem like someone else is home besides me. Every time before I'm done with the night and I go to bed, I go and check all of the doors that lead to the outside at least 3 times, which I did last night. And then go to bed, blah, blah, blah. So last night I woke up at like 1:30, like I went to sleep at like 11:30, but I woke up, I was really thirsty, decided to go downstairs to get a drink. I come out of my room and I look down my stairs, and I'm on the top floor. My bedroom is on the top floor, the kitchen is on the middle floor, and then there's a bottom floor. Like we have a 3-story home. So I was on the top floor and I came out and I was about to head down the stairs, but I looked down the stairs and you can see part of our kitchen and you can see the door that leads to the balcony off of our kitchen. So I came out, I looked down the stairs, and the door to the balcony was wide open. And it was cold because the door was open. It was cold outside, so I felt the cold and I just froze. Like I stopped at the top of the stairs and I just froze because I know that literally 2 hours before that I had checked that lock 3 times and locked it as good as I could. So after freezing for a few seconds, I went back into my room, I locked my door, and I went to go under my bed to find my shotgun. This is why you have guns, people. Let's not get into that. But unfortunately, we live in a scary world, and Danny has therefore, we have guns in our home. He's taught me how to use the guns, and one of the guns, the big shotguns, I keep under my bed. And we've done drills before. Like he's really prepared me because we've done, like I think I talked to you about this, but he's really like trained me. Like if you're in a situation where you're terrified and you're shaking and you can't control yourself, like he would do little drills with me. Like he would have me lock my bedroom door because that's what I do when he's not home. And then he would come and like bang on the door and be like, let me in, I'm coming in, and like make it sound like he's trying to break in to scare the crap out of me. And it does every time. Like it's terrifying. Like he's very like, this is how, and I'll be like yelling at him from the other side of the door, like, shut up, I get it, shut up. It's like, no, this is how it's gonna be. This is how loud it's gonna be. This is how scary it's gonna be. Like he'll keep doing that. And then, so then I'll be, you know, a little shaky and have to go and find a key, open the case, and get the shotgun and load it. So I went back into my room, terrified, and first thing I did, locked my door. I got down to my bed, looked under my bed, and the gun was not there. And I freaked out. So I called Danny. I should have called 911 first, but I didn't. I called Danny and I was like, where the F is the gun? Where is the gun? And he's like, why, what's wrong? And I told him, I'm like, well, I'm home alone. I'm like shaking talking about it again. It was a really scary experience. I was like, well, I just came out and I was gonna go downstairs, and then I saw that the balcony door was wide open and I did not open it. I told him the whole story basically. And he's like, okay, well, this sucks because I said, where's the gun? Where's the gun? And he said, well, I actually just took it down to my shop to work on it a couple days ago and it's still down there. And I'm like, the one time that I actually need it, it's not under my bed. And so I'm like crying to him. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, hang up the phone and call 911. So I hung up the phone. I called Alicia and told her to look out her window and watch for the cops in case they had a hard time getting through my garage. And then I called 911 And the dispatch lady was so sweet and so nice. Like, I was so hysterical and crying, and I was telling her, I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's just that I have a pretty large following on YouTube, and I've got a big group of people that really, really hate me and that have made me feel scared for my life. And my husband's out of town and I'm all alone and blah. Like, I just vented to her, and she's like, it's okay, sweetie. Just let it out. It's okay, but you're okay. Don't worry. The cops are coming. Just stay on the phone with me. Da da da. So she was like asking me everything, details of what happened and everything. And she's like, okay, I need you to stay in your room, lock yourself in your room, lock yourself in your bathroom if you have to. So I did. So I locked my bedroom door again. I went back into the bathroom, locked my door again from the bathroom, and I just waited. And she's like, okay, the police are at your home. They're checking the premise of your home, and they're just checking outside to see if it looks like anybody broke in. I'm like, okay, let me know when they need the garage code and I can give it to them. And then she's like, okay, it sounds like they actually came through the front door. And I'm like, how did they come through the front door? I locked it and shut it and locked it. And she's like, oh, it was open. Not just unlocked, open. Both my second floor door to the balcony and the bottom floor front door were open. And I had just checked the locks 2 hours before, like 3 times. Terrified. So that freaked me out even more. And I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody probably climbed up to the balcony, came through the balcony and heard me coming, and then quietly ran downstairs to the bottom floor and went out the front door. Like, I was terrified. And so I started crying, and she was like, it's okay, you'll be okay. She's like, just wait in the room. The cops will come into your room and they'll let you know, and it's okay to come out, da da da. And so I heard the cops come up here, and I heard them like coming through my bedroom door. I don't know how they got it open. Maybe they picked it, I don't know. But I heard it, and so I opened my bathroom door where I was to kind of like wave to let them know that it was me. The stupidest, guys. You need to stay where the dispatcher tells you to stay, because, oh, it's so funny. But looking back, this is so funny. But so like I peeked out my bathroom door and like I waved at him, and the guy that was in front, you know, with his gun and his light, and then he had 2 other officers behind him, like just ready to do whatever. So he like kicks my door open and goes like this, and then I come around the corner and I see him, and I'm like, hey, and he's like, oh, holy shit. He's like, you scared the shit out of me. It's like, you scared the shit out of me. Anyway. So that was kind of funny looking back. But at the time I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, ma'am. And then he's like, ma'am, I'm going to need you to go back in your bathroom and stay there till we're ready for you. And I'm like, okay, I'm so sorry. I just didn't know if you knew that I was in here, da da da. So anyway, that was kind of crazy. So they continued to check everything. They checked this. They had already apparently checked the bottom floor, the middle floor, and now they were up here on the 3rd floor. So they went and they checked Danny's room, my craft room, the bathroom, the laundry room. And then once they came in my room, they checked under my bed, they checked my closet, they checked, oh, and my closet was a mess, but whatever. My whole house was a mess, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And so then they're like, okay, ma'am, you can come out. So I come out of my bathroom, and I just broke. And I was like, you guys, thank you for coming. He's like, and I told them the same thing I told the girl, that I've had threats before, and that there are a lot of people that know that I'm home alone. And he's like, okay, well, first of all, don't do that again. I'm like, I know. My husband actually, you know, gets so mad at me when I tell people on the internet that he's going to go out of town. He's like, that's so dangerous. And then I'm like, no, nothing bad could ever really happen. And the police officer is like, you need to not do that anymore. That's not smart. I'm like, okay, thank you. And I told him, I said, normally I have a gun up here. And he's like, yeah, we know, we found the gun on the 1st floor. And I was like, okay. He checked the whole thing. He said that they didn't see anything that looked like a forcible entry type of a thing. And they were pretty confident that everything was okay. So they made me walk all the way down to the bottom floor with them to let them out. And they asked me to get the shotgun again from the bottom floor and take it back up to my room and make sure that it's ready to go if I need it. And they just were like the nicest guys, and it was so scary. It's been a while since I felt that scared. I was terrified that I was gonna die. I literally had that thought like, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm about to be murdered. Even though luckily nothing happened. I'm guessing that nobody did break in. But then I called my husband back too, and he's like, well, what if they climbed up the balcony and then heard you coming and then hurry and ran down the stairs and went out the front door? And I was like, that's what I said. That's what I was thinking. And you just validated it. Now I'm even more scared. It was crazy. So anyway, Alicia was awesome. She stayed on the phone for me after I got to hang up with the dispatcher. Once the cops were done, I called Alicia right away, and she just was kind of watching out her door and window the whole time while all of this was happening. So she was really, really awesome and sweet and stuff. So thanks, Alicia, if you're watching. It was just terrifying. Yeah, so they were really nice. Like once we cleared everything, once we, you know, I just was talking to them a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, my husband's out of town. And they're like, well, we actually saw, oh, and then he was like, we actually saw a lot more guns downstairs on the main floor. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of those are just props. My husband's a prop designer for films and stuff. And then one of the other officers there was like, oh, I know, I saw everything he built down there. He's amazing. And then all of them kept going on and on about how awesome his Groot costume was, and his Halo costume, and his Iron Man costume that he had built, like all these armors that he had built, and all of his props, and they just were going off about it, and it was the cutest, funniest thing. So anyway, that's when I walked them out. I grabbed my gun, I put it back under my bed, called Danny, of course, and then I did a live stream on Instagram and cried about it on there. Anyway, that's about it. That's what happened, and I learned my lesson. Danny's back home now, thankfully, but I learned my lesson now. I'm no longer gonna share when Danny goes out of town or anything like that. And maybe even next time he goes out of town, I might go stay with my mom just to be safe, you know? So I don't know. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this really fun story time. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow for another video. I was not planning on doing this video for today, but since this all happened, obviously I did it for today. But tomorrow I'll be back to what I was planning on doing for after I came back. So, okay. All right. I love you guys so much. And remember forever and always that you are beautiful, you are worth it, and I am too. Thank you for watching. Bye.